If you're thinking of making an industry move, it's a really important opportunity for you to research thoroughly the new industry that you're considering going into. A lot of candidates that I meet instantly assume that their skills are highly transferable between industries and that an industry move is in fact relatively easy to undertake, but the reality is quite different. So your first step, if you are thinking of considering changing, and you may be changing for very valid reasons, for example, your industry may be in decline, it may be a highly competitive, saturated industry, it might not be a recession-proof industry, and so you're starting to think about ways you can future-proof your career. And so an industry move is often a very smart idea to consider, but you must do your research, and too many people try and go about this without doing the bare basics. So the first step I would take would be I would pull down research that's freely available about the industry. What are the trends? What are the issues? What's coming up in the industry? What are the challenges and the opportunities that the industry is facing? I would study any regulatory changes that are happening in that industry. I would reach out to colleagues that I know are working in the industry, and I'd go and meet with them for a coffee and get anecdotal information about what's going on in the industry. What are the trends? What are they seeing on the ground? I would also, really sort of, study certain companies that are leaders in that particular industry, and I'd be sort of trying to get a handle on what's happening and, really trying to arm myself with as much information as possible. The second part of the equation is to study your skill set and how it might apply. Now, I always say to candidates, if you want to change industry, don't try and change the role or the function that you are performing, because if you try and do those two major moves at the same time, it's just too high risk for the employer to take you on, and you're not competitive. You will not even be close to the top 50% of candidates. You'll be up against it. So you've got to try and minimize that competitive issue. And so you would concentrate on making an industry move. So if you're currently a marketing manager in the, the sea freight industry, and you want to change industries because you don't see a big future for yourself in that industry, and you want to change to another industry, maybe that's very logistics heavy, but it's a different style of logistics. It's more fast paced, for example. So it might be the IT industry. And you might move across, but you still retain the marketing manager position. So when you're putting your CV together, it makes it a lot easier to recalibrate and to be highly competitive when you put that application together. The first step, though, is to genuinely do your research. You cannot go into this with rose-colored glasses. You also cannot go into this just assuming because you've got skills in one industry that automatically translates to you being a highly competitive candidate in another industry. The reality is that people have often worked in certain industries for 20 plus years. They've built up connections, they've built up relationships, they've built up deep knowledge of how the industry works. They also know how the industry is evolving, and this is not easy to replicate. You can't just pick this information up very quickly. But what you can do is demonstrate that you are genuinely interested in the industry that you're moving towards, that you have done your research, and that you can demonstrate that you're a fast learner and able to pick things up quickly. And that would be the key to being competitive in that recruitment process.